Hi everyone, what's up? So now we're going to go through the combo. The reason why I've decided to put the combo separate from the deck profile is just so that you guys have persons who are not interested in the deck profile but just want to see the combo because they're probably playing a very similar build, or they're playing their own unique build and they just want to do the combo. Here you go. So this is for you, and the deck is taking a bit of a shine right now because persons are actually realizing the combos I do with this are broken. Like, they're on a different level. Not even the meta decks can beat you if you go uncontested. Now for this combo, I'm actually going to apply the Joker effect, but I'm just going to tell you guys something that you need to know, and it's very good to have this knowledge. Example, if I had Astrograph in my hand, these two are actually a very normal hand because you play essentially 6 copies of this and 3 copies of it. And Sorcerer, what happens is that the Joker search isn't actually necessary. I don't need it at all, full stop. I don't need it. What I'm actually going to do is discard the card that I search for with Joker. And if you open Astrograph, that means that the Beyond doesn't need the search either. So what happens is that the first thing you should do, normal summon Joker, they cannot chance to know if you're actually playing the super heavy build or you're actually playing Performer Pulse. They have to negate it. If you're actually playing Performer Pulse, they're going to lose. 2. After I do my plays on Link Off, because I don't need this, because I already have the Astrograph in my hand, if they negate that as well, that's 2 interruptions. That's 2 Imperm, or Imperm and Ash, and they're still looking on a board of 12 interruptions. Now, you're no longer able to do the 12 interruption board because Appaloosa contributed towards 4 of them. So it's reduced to 9. Alright, so I'm just going to do the combo now. So first of all, normal summon Joker effect. I'm actually going to add Lady Ange. It's not going to do anything important. Now, the whole purpose of that is just to get a card to discard. Nothing else. So in other words, you don't actually need Joker to do the combo, you just need that level 4 Pendulum Monster. Now it's time to activate Wakashu, and we're going to use its scale effect to put Big Monk in scale, summon itself, and Monk's effect will add Soul Piercer. Equip Soul Piercer to Wakashu, then I'll Synchro. I'll get Ignisto, this effect, and this effect. So I'll put this in scale and I'll get an add. I'll add another Wakashu because it's an even scale. And I'll use Ignisto's effect to special summon Majesty, and Majesty's effect will add the field spell. I'll get to discard Lady Ange, who actually can put herself in the scale later on in the duel if needed. Now I'll link up with both of these into Beyond, and Beyond's effect will add Astrograph. So, as I said, you didn't really need the search if you opened Astro. You can actually just activate the Sky Iris. Now I'm just putting it at a spot where we can all see it. Then we get the Pendulum summon back, just the 2. You don't need more than the 2. Then I'll Exceed with them to go into Dogar's Timeless. I'll use his effect, get back Ignister, Ignister's effect. I'll special from the deck, special the water one first, that way anything you find after, you can always just abuse it. So I'm linking off both of these to go into Princess. Use Jean Grey's effect, Reborn, and now I'll link off with both of these. If you have the Fire Phoenix, you can play it, the actual Jean Grey, but if not, you can play this like myself, which is still good. It's just that I hardly ever use its effect. Its effect has only came up when something goes wrong. Moving on, we can now apply Ignisto's effect. We can summon anything from deck, but it's always best to get the Majesty. Now I'll tribute both of them to get out the Fusion. Because this was tributed, I get to add back her to my hand, and I'll use effect, and I'll use effect to Reborn. I'll link off this. Going into Zelantis, and I'll use... interesting, I thought I should have one more monster. Doesn't matter. Zelantis effect. Banish everyone, and everyone comes back. Always remember this will hug a corner. If I was to be hit by Nibiru prior to this, I would summon Zelantis in the next corner. I will use effect. Because I exceeded with the previous one, I know it's in the grave, and I'll link off with both of them to go into Grand Sofa Chord, Musician. Musician isn't really that good. It's just a substitute for Electromite for now. I'll use Ignister's effect, special from the deck. It doesn't actually matter who you summon here, because my only aim is just to get a monster on board so that I can link off and go into Singularity. Singularity will open up more zones for you because now I can use this. Now it's time Sky Iris pop, and I get to add my first Revolution Dragon. I'll activate it using the effect. I'll get back Ignister on the field. Ignister should always be hugging Singularity, and you'll use your Astrograph effect. Summon itself, get your next Revolution Dragon. So you're on the second one. And now I can use Ignister's next effect, a special from deck. Special summon the fire one because if anything goes wrong, you're safe in popping. Now I'll link with all of these. And I'll get Exceed. Her effect will add back. Do not add back Astrograph with her effect. Always add back the Revolution Dragon. The reason why is because Musician cannot add it back. Because in your hand, it's just even scales. If you had been playing a normal duel and you had an odd scale, it's fine. But because I only have even scales, now I use Musician, put this in the extra deck, and get back my Astrograph. By doing this, it circulates your Revolution Dragon and your Astrograph. And Astrograph being a free body on the board, it gives you a +3 advantage just by doing it. And it's a light monster, so if you want to play the level 10 Synchro that negates the Gen X, it's necessary for that. Because you don't really have a lot of light monsters that go to the graveyard. And going to activate effect. Going to bring you back one more time. Hold on, I made an error there. Before you use effect, you should use her effect on Reborn. Doesn't really change anything because I could have just done it like right after. And you will of course drop your Astrograph and use the effect to search for the final Revolution Dragon. From here, it doesn't matter. You can do this any way you want. You'll link off with these to go into Firewall. You'll use both of these effects to search and add. So I'm getting both of these. And now Firewall's effect, I'll get to add back both of them to my hand, which generates a lot of advantage. This is no longer useful and I need it gone. You have two ways to do this. This is why I put this in the zone earlier, so now I can use Ignister's effect, pop in it, and put this back inside my deck. Or, if you forgot, you can always Ignister pop this and put this in the deck because you already used it. Well, because I thought ahead, that's fine. I'll now get the Ignis effect, special summon. Here. Doesn't matter that much, it's not that significant. And now I can use the Ignister on field effect. I didn't special anything from the deck with it as yet. Doesn't matter what you summon here, but I always try to get out all these dragons from out of the deck, because they have no purpose if I draw them further point in the duel. From this point, I will, well, first of all, these two must go. It's time to bring on the Sun Avalon. It requires 2 link monsters, a link 3 plus 1 link monster. And its effect on summon, I will get the trap card, Sun Avalon Blue. You can just set it wherever you want, and we can continue the duel. So from here, interesting. I have a lot of ways to do this, but I think I'm on the final one for this already. Interesting. So I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to link with both of these. And I'm going into spheres. What happens is that I need to summon this. Now I can actually do this. Activate using effect, pop in itself, and bring back Ignisto here. And effect, of course, I'll get the monster that can fuse. I'll activate this and effect to fusion summon. I'll now use this Ignisto's effect special, it really doesn't matter. Link with all of them. Always remember Ignisto must be hung in singularity at all times. And special this. Now that this is on the pitch, I can use Singularity's effect and bring back the OG Firewall. And now I can use the last copy and bring back Ignister itself. I did something weird that most persons didn't realize. I had this in scale, but I didn't use its scale effect because I didn't have a card in hand to discard. But normal duels, you will have a card in hand to discard. So this is the end board. Also, even if you didn't have a card to discard in hand, if you wanted to fusion someone, this was in my graveyard, so I can just activate it and just put it in scale because the other is on the field, and then I can fusion someone from there. So Lady Ange does have that. All you have to do is control the others in your scale and you can do that. But I didn't do it because that's not a planned part of the combo. So let's count up the interruptions here. This doesn't provide any type of interruption, it just gets a trap card, which itself is an interruption. Spheres, well, the first order of things is that you're always going to negate with Trigate first. Boom, so they activate something, Trigate, negate and banish. Then the next opportunity, so that's one by the way. You're going to Spheres, tribute Trigate, and bounce back a card. Singularity will summon back Trigate. So that's 2. Trigate is not a hard once per turn, so I can use it again. It's an Omni Negate that negates and banish, so that's 3 interruptions. 2 Firewalls, that's 5 interruptions. This can bounce back 3 cards, and this can bounce back 1. So that's 5 interruptions. Vortex is also an Omni Negate interruption. I have, so that's 6 by the way. I have Promethean Princess in my graveyard, can pop my Ignister at any point in time. So that's 7. I have the trap card on the field, that's 8. And of course, we have this engrave makes 9. So it's a total of 9 interruptions coming off 2 cards. So yep, this is a full combo. Now the bad news is that my opponent could have Nibiru'd me at any point in time. At any point in time. There is no longer pressure on them to Nibiru immediately on the summon because they can use it when you're going to summon a card that's going to interrupt them. So this is not a good combo, and I no longer think it's ideal for tournament because you can just lose to 1 card that's at 3 in every deck. Nibiru is just too much. And one would think Konami would have things figured out that, hey, I'm going to get rid of the only card in the game that could stop Nibiru in the form of Apollozo, because it quote unquote does too much. You ever thought they'd think about the repercussions that of their actions? No, we lose, all combo decks lose to Nibiru now, because there's no way to deal with it. And it didn't really help anything, but here is it. I'm going to give you the twist of irony. The only deck that has a generic, well, only combo deck that has a generic support way to deal with Nibiru in the form of a link monster is also Pendulums. Yes, Pendulums, you heard me right. Kulia can actually negate. However, the issue with Kulia is that it requires me to have an odd Sofa Chord monster in scale, meaning most likely Kulia. So this is the Pendulum monster and this is Link monster. So it would require this in scale, but this is also, it summons it. So this is also another interruption. That's 2 interruptions coming off of it. And it's not once per turn. So if you have a next Kulia in your scale, you can potentially summon both of them. But I think Kulia's monster effect is a hard once per turn. Yeah, it is. The Pendulum, not the Link monster. The Link monster's effect is not hard once per turn. I'm just reading it just to be clear. Once per turn. No, it is a once per turn, but not hard once per turn. So if you summon 2, you're good. Don't really think you're gonna resort to that though. So yeah. Also, while it's on the field, if it points to any of your pendulum monsters, those monsters cannot be negated. So even if they have imperm and they permit, it's not negated regardless. But that's it. The only answer is in Coolio, a monster that's not consistent. And by the way, the only reason why I summon this card is not any super fancy specific combo. It's just because it points down. So it's like the only way to get Tragate. Because really and truly, I can make a portion of different boards, but without the Omni-Negate, it's not going to make a sense. Alright, let me give you a perfect example. If I was to get rid of this and this position goes to any other monster in the game, let's just say even Zelantis. What happens is that your opponent imperms this and then they lightning storm you and the whole field is gone because you don't have any protection. So the reason why I went out of my way to summon this is simply to facilitate Trigate. Yep. So it's not as dense as persons think it is. I'm just doing this to summon Trigate, nothing else. The combo is pretty solid, it's just that Nibiru exists, so you're going to lose if you do it. But if you want to try it out, hey, more to you. The Gen X, I think, is the route to go. But I think Coolia is like quite literally possibly the easiest card to summon, and it can negate Nibiru. But the problem is that I want to force them to Nibiru immediately on Pendulum Summon. If they Nibiru me on Pendulum Summon, they're looking on this board regardless. I'm just putting that out there. So if you want a combo for that, I can do that for you. But Konami is just Konami. I just really think it's better to stop playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Than to have to go through these mental gymnastics and struggles with them. They need to create, obviously, a better ban list. Electromite needs to come back. If you're going to take away Appaloosa, why not give us the only method that could protect us against Nibiru for Pendulum players? And it's not like Electromite is broken anymore. Like, really. Colossus is at 2. Konami needs to really do better. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'm out. Peace.